Ben, we're going to do a presentation at the Digital Health Festival in Melbourne on the 20th of May. We've both survived serious life-threatening cancers, and we've been asked to do a patient's perspective on the digital revolution that's changing everything in healthcare. What's the critical issue? You're a patient and a doctor. What's the critical issue?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I straddle both of these worlds. And the thing I love about us being able to come together is we've had very different cancer experiences at different stages in our lives. But the themes, Julie, they're so similar across regardless of cancer type and setting, right? The big things for me are just how do we hold on to that patient voice as we rapidly expand the digital interface and as everyone wants to incorporate AI. And, you know, the things that you and I learnt along our journeys was that often the technological was not the problem. It was the humanity. It was the basics of care. And I just worry, Julie, that with this rush, we're going to get further and further from that. And the gap is going to get even wider.
And my understanding is that when you reflect on the history of innovative technology in medicine, it can impact the centrality of the doctor-patient relationship. I know we have team care, but that doctor-patient relationship, why is that so important? And what's the digital hope and the digital danger?
Yeah, it's a really good way to frame it. Like you're right, the healthcare provider relationship, there's lots of them and they're varied and we need everybody, at the table. The doctor-patient one is especially special because I think that's the basis of healing. I think there's lots in that dynamic, in that relationship that goes above and beyond particular medicines and particular surgeries. And what I've noticed crossing over into medicine is that each time we've introduced new technologies, the last kind of 50, 60 years, we've just kind of got further from the core bit of relating to another person who's sick. And whether it's imaging or, diagnostic testing or robotic surgeries, we're putting space between us and the patient at every step. And, there's not a day goes by now where people don't say, oh, I went to the GP and they didn't even listen to my chest, or I only had 15 minutes and they didn't ask how I was feeling. I worry now with the technology coming into the clinical interface in a way that we've never seen before, that actually we won't spend more time looking at the person, but we'll spend more time interacting with AI and the patient will feel further and further behind.
As someone who's a 13-year survivor of stage 4 throat cancer, I know that radiation therapy and chemotherapy saved my life, but surviving the treatment and the long-term recovery, they call it survivorship these days, it's a psychological and spiritual experience. And I couldn't have done that, particularly without my ENT, my ear, nose and throat surgeon who diagnosed me and supported me, and whom I still have contact with 13 years later, Richard Gallagher, an essential nurse coordinator called Susie Flynn, who again, I still have contact with. These are real relationships. And in head and neck cancer that I had, we have the highest suicide rate post-survival of any cancer for a whole lot of reasons we won't go into here, but it's that psychological. You're a psychiatrist now. You must care about the psychological.
Oh, I care about it deeply. And you're right. I think it's not just cancer survivorship that's spiritual and psychological. It's illness full stop, right? We can't ignore the fact that it's a mind and a body going through something together and it's interacting with other minds. It's medicine is a relational game. And the pills are one thing and the radiation therapy is one thing. But you and I, we both have really deep connections to the people that saved us. The people that saved us, not the bag of chemotherapy, not the radiation machine. It's the people that we look to. It's the people that give me goosebumps, right? When I think about certain experiences receiving amazing care, it's not the therapeutics. And I think we just have to be really careful that we hold on to that. And actually, there's an opportunity, which is that all this technology allows us to get back to that. It allows us to close this care gap and focus back on the person.
Particularly with the communication element. Look, anyone who doesn't come to the Digital Health Festival at Melbourne, at the big conference centre on the 20th of May and comes to our session, the patient and doctor perspective at 12:30, well, I'm sorry for them. Dr. Ben Bravery, thank you.
Thank you.